What if the most important lessons in life aren't taught in classrooms or highlighted in motivational speeches, but are hidden quietly in everyday moments we often overlook? What if the regrets we fear most aren't about what we tried and failed, but about what we never dared to begin? Imagine realizing that real wisdom isn't about avoiding mistakes, but about embracing life fully, knowing that time waits for no one. Welcome to a conversation few are brave enough to have, a reflection on the honest truths about life, time, relationships, and purpose that, once seen, will change you forever. Most honest life lessons. You won't learn these in school. Billy Graham. Motivation, YouTube. You know, one of the most honest truths I've ever heard, and I only truly understood it as I got older, is that time doesn't wait for anybody. It moves, whether you're ready or not, whether you're paying attention or not. When you're young, you think you have forever. The days feel long and the future feels like a place that's always out there waiting for you. But here's what no one tells you. When you're just starting out, life starts speeding up. When you're not looking, you blink, and high school is a memory. Blink again, and you're in your 30s, wondering how you got here. You look around and realize some of the people you thought would be there forever aren't anymore. And you wonder, did I say what I needed to say? Did I do what I wanted to do? Or did I keep putting it off, assuming there'd be more time? See, there's this illusion. We all grow up with the idea that at some point in life, we'll feel ready to take the risk, ready to change directions, ready to chase the dream, ready to fix the relationship, ready to forgive. But if you're waiting for that perfect moment to arrive, you'll be waiting forever. 'Cause no matter how old you are, you never actually feel ready. You think older people walk around with this deep confidence, like they've got it all figured out. Let me tell you something. Most of us are still just trying to keep up, still unsure, still wondering if we're doing this thing right? And that's why time is such a tricky teacher. It moves fast, but it teaches slow. It's only in looking back that we see what we missed. We see the moments we were too busy to enjoy. We see the days we wasted being angry, or insecure, or trying to be what someone else expected. We realize we were always one decision away from a completely different life, but we didn't take it because we thought we had time. And I say this not to scare you. I say it to wake you up. Because the most dangerous lie we tell ourselves is later. I'll call him later. I'll start that thing later. I'll slow down and enjoy life later. But later is not a guarantee. Later is a luxury. And eventually, you run out of leers. One day, you wake up, and there's more behind you than ahead of you. And that's when this truth hits the hardest. You don't get time back. I once sat with a man in his 90s, sharp as a tack, full of stories. And he said to me, "You know what? I wish someone told me when I was 30 that life doesn't warn you. When the best days are happening, they just come and go. And it's only later you realize you were in them." That stuck with me because it's so easy to miss the beauty of right now. When you're so busy chasing something ahead, we live like we're racing towards some finish line, when really the moments that matter are happening in the middle of all the noise. So what do we do with that? What does it mean to really live with this knowledge that time is short and precious and unpromised? It means you stop waiting. You stop waiting for permission, or the perfect plan, or for someone to validate your dream. You stop assuming the people you love will always be around you. Stop postponing joy. You stop wasting energy trying to be impressive, and start investing in being present, because that's where life is actually happening. You want to know what wisdom sounds like from someone who's lived long enough to regret and reflect. It sounds like this: I wish I had let myself be happy. I wish I had taken more risks. I wish I had spent more time with the people who mattered. Not once have I heard someone say, I wish I worked more hours. Or, I'm glad I waited until I felt confident. So let this be your wake-up call, not in a dramatic, panic-inducing way, but in the way a friend shakes your shoulders and says, hey, don't miss this. Don't sleep through your own life. You're not too young. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You don't need to know exactly what's coming. You just need to start. Because even the longest journey begins with a single, very unsure, very unready step. Don't wait to feel ready. Just be brave enough to begin. One of the hardest truths that sinks in as you get older is this: people leave sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once. And most of the time we don't see it coming. You spend so much of your early years thinking, there will always be more time, more conversations, more chances to make things right. But life doesn't give you a calendar, invite for the last time you'll see someone. It just happens. And afterward, you're left with whatever was said or not said. I've talked to people in their 80s and 90s who can recall in vivid detail the last words they spoke to someone they loved, because it was ordinary, just a normal goodbye, just a see you later, that never came, and they carry that moment with them for the rest of their lives, sometimes with a smile, sometimes with a deep ache. And you start to realize we spend way too much time being stubborn, holding grudges, assuming we've got time to circle back. But when people leave, when they die, when they drift away, when they move on, it hits you like a freight train. How quickly life can shift, how little control we actually have. And yet, we live like we're invincible. We think the people we love are permanent fixtures. We take for granted that we'll always have another chance. So we put off the apology. We hold back the I love you. We assume they already know how we feel. But I'm telling you right now, don't wait. Don't wait to say the thing that's sitting heavy in your heart. Don't wait to forgive someone who may not deserve it, but whose absence would leave a hole too wide to fill. Because here's the thing, it's not always about death. Sometimes life just takes people in different directions. Old friends fade out of touch. Family members grow, distant relationships change. And often we're so busy with our own struggles, our own distractions, that we don't even notice the distance until it feels too far to bridge. We don't talk enough about that slow kind of grief, the one that comes from people still alive, but no longer present, and the guilt that creeps in when we realize we let that space grow without trying to close it. I've had people tell me, I wish I had called more. I wish I hadn't let something so small create so much distance. I thought we had time. And those words, they stick with you. They become your own warning signs. If you're wise enough to listen, I want you to think about someone right now that you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe it's someone you love deeply, but haven't told in a long time. Maybe it's someone you need to make peace with. Maybe it's just someone you miss. What's stopping you? Ego fear the idea that they should reach out. First, let me tell you, pride is a poor companion when you're sitting alone with memories and regret. It won't keep you warm. It won't make you feel whole. But love spoken, love expressed, that stays with people, that becomes part of their story and yours. And it's never too small to matter. And I'm not saying it's easy. Sometimes relationships are complicated. Sometimes the wounds go deep, but silence is not healing. Distance is not closure. And time doesn't always fix things. You have to be the one to make the call, to send the message, to show up, even if it's messy, even if it's awkward, even if it doesn't go the way you hope. At least you'll know you tried. I've seen strong men cry because they never said, "I'm sorry" to their father before he passed. I've seen grown women carry guilt for decades because they never told their mother how much they admired her. I've heard stories of best friends who never found their way back to each other, and all of them share the same look in their eyes when they talk about it. A quiet pain, not just for the loss, but for the silence. So don't wait for a funeral to say what someone meant to you. Don't let the last words be words you wish you could take back or wish you had said at all. Reach out, speak up, let people know they're loved, appreciated, valued, even if it's been a long time, even if you're not sure how it'll be received. Because one day you won't get the chance, and you'll wish you had one more moment to speak what was in your heart. Don't wait to say the things you'll wish you said. One of the most surprising things you realize as you get older is that no one really has it figured out. We all walk around with this illusion that someone, maybe someone older, someone wiser, someone who's made it, has the answers. We think there's this point in life when you just become a grown-up, and all of a sudden you've got everything under control. But let me tell you, that's not the case. No one is fully ready for the challenges life throws at them. Not even the people who seem like they've got it all together. When you're young, you look at adults and assume they know exactly what they're doing. They're the ones with the steady jobs, the houses, the families. They seem like they've got their act together. But the truth is, most of us are just figuring it out as we go. We might have some experience, some lessons learned along the way, but no one actually knows what's coming next. We're all just doing the best we can with the cards we've been dealt. And that's okay. Here's the thing. We don't talk about enough. We spend a lot of time waiting to feel ready. We wait for that magical moment when we're prepared to take the leap, when we've gained enough knowledge, when we're mature enough to handle whatever life throws at us. But here's the kicker. That moment never comes. You never feel 100% ready. You never feel fully prepared. And if you keep waiting for that, you'll keep putting off the things that matter most. The most successful people I know aren't the ones who had all the answers from the start. They're the ones who took the first step without knowing what was ahead. They acted even when they didn't feel prepared. They weren't waiting for the perfect plan or the perfect circumstances. They just started, and in the process, they learned, they adapted, and they grew. And here's the thing. It's not just about career or big life decisions. It's about everything. We hold ourselves back because we think we need to have all the answers. We think we need to be perfectly equipped before we take on something new. We get caught in that trap of perfectionism, thinking we need to have it all figured out before we try. But the truth is, the only way to figure it out is to jump in and start trying. I've seen so many people hold themselves back from pursuing their dreams, from following their hearts, from taking risks, because they thought they needed more experience or more knowledge. But the truth is, you'll never feel fully qualified. You'll never feel like you have all the answers. And guess what? That's okay. The people you look up to didn't start out knowing everything they learned along the way, just like you will. And some of the biggest lessons come from failing, from making mistakes, from not having it all figured out, right? We often make the mistake of thinking that the people around us who seem to have their lives together are somehow more qualified, more skilled, more capable. But when you get to know them, you realize they're just as human as the rest of us. They've made mistakes, they've had doubts, they've questioned themselves, they've been afraid, just like you. They might not show it, but deep down, they're still figuring it out. And you know what? It's not just okay to not have it all figured out. It's normal. Life is a process, and none of us has the luxury of a clear map that shows us exactly where to go and how to get there. We all have to navigate our own path. We have to make decisions, sometimes blindly, sometimes with only half the information. But we do it anyway, because staying stuck, staying in the waiting room of life, isn't the answer. So if you're sitting here today, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the right circumstances, waiting until you feel fully ready, let me tell you something. That moment is never going to come. You'll never feel 100% prepared. You'll always have doubts, always wonder if you're doing the right thing. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you shouldn't take that step. It doesn't mean you should wait. It means you should do it anyway. There's no magic moment when everything clicks and you suddenly feel like you're on top of the world with all the answers. There's no point where life magically becomes easy, where the struggle disappears. What happens instead is you learn to trust yourself to take action. Even when you're unsure, you learn to get comfortable with uncertainty, because that's where growth happens. That's where the magic is. We spend so much of our lives worrying about being perfect, about knowing all the answers, about having the right plan. But the most successful, the most fulfilled people are the ones who got out of their own way, the ones who took a leap even when they weren't sure where they would land, the ones who knew they didn't have to be perfect, but they did it anyway. So stop waiting to feel ready. Start moving forward. Even if you don't have all the answers, you're never going to have everything figured out. And that's perfectly fine. Just take the first step, and the rest will follow. There's one thing that, when you get older, hits you harder than any of the tough moments in life: the realization that it's not the things you tried and failed at that you regret the most. It's the things you never tried, the opportunities you let slip away because you were scared, unsure, or convinced there would always be a better time. Let me tell you, regret has a unique sting. It's the kind of pain that doesn't come from failing, but from never taking the leap at all. It's the what-ifs that gnaw at you, the mischances, the risks not taken, the dreams you never chased because you were waiting for the right moment. And here's the thing. There's no such thing as a perfect moment. Time doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It keeps moving. And before you know it, you look back and realize that the moments you let pass are the ones that hurt the most. We're so afraid of failing. We fear rejection. We fear looking foolish. We fear losing. And that's normal. But the older you get, the more you realize that failure isn't the end, it's just a part of the process. In fact, some of the most valuable lessons come from failure. It teaches you resilience. It shows you what doesn't work. And it pushes you to try again. What hurts, though, is not the failure itself. It's the regret that comes from not trying at all. When you look back and wonder what could have been. When you wonder how different things might have been. If you just took that chance, that's a weight that's much harder to carry. I've met so many people, particularly those who are older, who look back on their lives, and their biggest regret isn't that they failed. It's that they didn't try. They didn't step out of their comfort zone. They didn't chase the dream that burned inside them. Maybe they were afraid of the unknown. Maybe they were worried about what others would think. Or maybe they simply convinced themselves they weren't good enough. But what you realize as you grow older is that there's nothing more painful than living with the what-ifs. The what-ifs haunt you. They follow you through life like a shadow, whispering, spend so much of your early years thinking, there will always be more time, more conversations, more chances to make. And here's the real kicker. But life doesn't give you the last time you'll see someone. There's no promise that everything will go according to plan. You're left with whatever is said, truth or not. Gets clearer as you get older. Talk to people in their ads. You'll never know what's possible unless you try. Spoke to someone. You'll never know what you're capable of. Push yourself. Just a normal fear of fail. See you later if you wait for the perfect. Carry that moment with them for the rest of their life until you feel waiting forever. Ache the perfect moment. Start to realize doesn't exist. Way too much. You have to make stubborn moment, holding grudges. You have to step into the even if it scares you, because even in failure, when they failure, there is progress. It hits you like a quickly. Life can only a little control. We have watched people let opportunities live by because they were too afraid of making the people we love are permanent in jobs they hated. We take for granted always places that didn't inspire them. Put off because they were afraid to take back the I love you. And years later, they already know how we feel. They don't mourn the things they telling. You right now, they mourn the things they never don't wait to say, the thing that's sitting heavy in your quiet ache. Don't wait to forgive someone who may not deserve it. We often overthink things whose absence we analyze every outcome, weigh every risk. Because here's the thing. It's not always we're too afraid of what might. Sometimes life just takes people in different directions, but in reality, old friends out of touch, far worse, family members. So distant relationships, fear keeps you stuck, and often paralyzed, so busy with our own distractions that we don't even know failure stops you experiencing what's on the other side of that leap. We don't talk enough about that possibility. And here's the kicker, the one that comes from the time we're afraid no longer present that creeps in when we realize we let that. There might be setbacks without trying to close. Sure, there might have challenges. I wish I had caught, but I can tell you from experience, those challenges, I wish I hadn't. Let something so small I thought Think about it. What's the worst thing that could happen? If you take a chance, you might fail. You might fall short of your expectations. But even in failure, you'll learn enough to listen. You'll discover something. I want you to think about someone right now, and maybe about the world around you. Maybe it's someone you haven't told in a long time. Maybe it's someone you need peace with. Maybe it's just someone you miss. Isn't it better to look back and say, I gave it my all, than to look back and wonder, fear, what if it's the reach out first? The road not taken. Let me tell you the words spoken. When you're sitting alone with the ones that leave you, with that nagging sense of it, won't keep you in the good news. It won't make you feel whole that it's never too late. But love, it's never too late to take that first step, to make that call, to chase that dream. People that becomes part of some perfect moment that will never come, and it's never too. I'm not saying it's easy. Some relationships are complicated. Don't let fear of failure stop. Silence is not. Distance is not always wanted to live. And time doesn't always. The end of the day, the biggest regret is not the failure. You have to be the one to make the call, to send the message opportunity show up. Even if it's me, never came, because even if it doesn't go the way you hope. So take that leap. At least you'll know you don't let the what-ifs haunt you. I've seen strong men cry because they never said, I'm sorry to their father. You got more inside you than you think. I've seen grown women waiting for you for decades because they never told their mother time goes by. One thing that becomes painfully clear. I've heard stories of best friends who never found their way back to. We all know the old saying, and all the same. Look in their eyes when it takes on a whole new meaning. When it quiet. I've had conversations with people much older than I. Without fail, one of the biggest things to say. What someone better care of themselves. Don't let the last words take for granted, or wish you said it all. Reach out. Treat our bodies like they're let people know they're loved, appreciated, and valued. Even if it's been a long time wearing them down. Even if you're not realizing there's only so much they can handle one day before they start to break. Get the chance when you're young. You feel invincible. One more moment, pull all-nighters, eat whatever you want. Run minimal sleep and still feel like you're on top of the world. One of the most things usually when you least expect it. When your body, no one really hasn't. Infinite. We all walk around this way. Maybe someone's slowing realization that you don't recover as quickly as you once did. And it's then that you realize in life how much you become a grown-up. And all of a sudden, you've heard people say things like, I wish I had taken, let me tell. When I was young, no one is fully ready for the challenges. Not even the people who see. I wish I had taken my doctor's advice serious. Young, you look at adults, and times in the late steady turn. Back the houses, the damage is done. They seem like they got their act together to go back and treat. But the truth is, most of them expected to. Most of us. When it was still just figuring it out as we go, we might have your learning along the way. But no one actually time in the world to get help. We're all just doing the best we can. We've been dealt, and I think I'll get to it later. Here's the thing, we don't start working out tomorrow. We spend a lot better next week, waiting to feel. The problem is that day never comes. We wait for that magical moment of putting it off, prepared to take the lead. Assuming that your body will always gain enough damage to catch up with you to handle whatever life your body is smarter than you think. But here's the kicker. It remembers that moment. Bad decision every night. You stayed up, feel late. Every fast, 100 meal. Every time you ignored the warning signs. You never feel waiting for. That you'll keep putting off the things that matter most. Realize the most successful people. I know. All those little ones who had all the answers. The ones you thought didn't. Matter, they're the ones that took the first step, without knowing what your health, even when they did. As we get older, they weren't listening for the catchy phrase, and more of a harsh, reality circumstances, because once your health starts to decline, nothing else really matters. They learn you can have all the money in the world, all the success, all the fame. It's not just about your not big life decisions. None of it will mean about everything we hold ourselves back because we can enjoy the life we have. All the answers, and the thing is, we all know this deeply equipped before we understand it until it's too late. We get caught in that trap, get so wrapped up in the grind work to have it all figured out. If we forget to take care of the one thing that is the only way to figure it out, is to jump in and start trying. We need to stop, hold themselves, start taking care of ourselves. Now, following their getting enough sleep. Because they thought they were moving our bodies and making the truth is you'll never feel fully qualified. Never feel like you have all the hours and eating salad for lunch. That's okay. I'm talking about building a lifestyle you look up to. A lifestyle that starts your body's needs before learned along the way. Just like a lot of the biggest lessons come over from making mistakes, not figured out. Like that we often make it. Really doesn't have to be. Complement qualified, more skilled. It's about choosing the stairs instead of the element. When you get to know them, you realize it's about putting down the human as the rest, picking up something that nourishes your body. They've made mistakes they've had about slowing down, and your body, just like you or stretch these little decisions may not show. It's seemingly insignificant are the ones that will pay off figuring it out. And it's not just okay to not have it all. Mental health is just important. In fact, life is a process. Go hand in hand. And none of us has the luxury of map shows us exactly where to go and how to get there. Stress, we all have to. Anxiety and depression all have physical effects on. Sometimes when you're constantly running on half the information, when you're neglecting your body, we do it anyway. That's because staying in the waiting room of life. The older we get, the more we realize how much time. So if you're sitting here today, waiting for the perfect difference, waiting until you feel ready, let me tell you where we are. That moment is never going to stop. Building those 100% prepared. Don't wait until your body stops. Always have doubts to take it. Always wonder if you're doing the right, if you're older. And that's okay. It's never too late to make a change. It doesn't mean you should never step. It doesn't prioritizing your health. It means start taking better care of yourself. To start, there's no magic moment when everything clicks and you suddenly feel like you're on top of the world. With all the health is the foundation of everything else in your life magically. Without it, everything else becomes harder. Struggle disappears, more complicated. What happens instead? learns the time to get with uncertainty as we move through life. One of the things becomes more and more evident. The magic success we spend so much of our lives worrying about being perfect, or how high you climb about knowing all the answers about the right titles you hold, the money, you make the accolades, you fulfilled. People truly get down to, it is found the ones who took the relationships. You even when they weren't sure where they would land with the ones up in the race, to be successful, in the eyes anyway. But so stop waiting back. The end of your life things that will matter the most. Even if you don't have all the people who stood by you, you're never going to have everything figured out. And the connection, that's perfectly fine. I've heard people say, and the rest will, it's not about the destiny. There's one thing that when you get older, hits you harder. While that may sound moment, it's true. The realization at the end of the day, you tried and failed journey isn't just about the places you never or the things you've done, the opportunities you let slip away. Relationship, there would, family, friends, or even colleagues. Let me tell you what, life meaning they are. The true marketers of the kind of. Everything else is just noise that doesn't come from this, but from never amount of money at all. It's the what if that can replace the feeling of having someone by your side not truly cares about dreams you never chase, because you were waiting for the right older, and you start to realize that the material thing is a perfect moment, the accomplished time, so hard, feel ready. It keeps moving. They don't bring lasting before you know it. You look back and realize they don't provide the fulfillment on that genuine connections with others. So, people in your life, the ones rejection, challenge you, fear looking foolish that bring true meaning to fear losing on this earth. And think about it for a moment when you're on your deathbed. But the older you get, the more you realize that failure isn't the end when you think about the meetings you attended, the deals you closed, the awards you won. In fact, some of the most valuable lessons come from life, rich. It teaches you resilience when you think about the friends who showed you by you through the family to try again. Supported you unconditionally what hurts. Partner who shared your dreams and fears. I am willing to bet it will be the people, not the titles. Or look back and wonder what could have been. Always the people when you wonder how this isn't just about having a lot of people in your life. It's about the quality much harder to carry. You could have hundreds of so many people. Particularly, don't have a few older who truly look back on their lives, truly biggest care about. Isn't that they failed? And you've missed the point. They didn't try. The deep, meaningful connections, they didn't step out of zone. The kind of relationship that you dream inside. You don't have to put on a unknown. Maybe they worry about others, would think they simply, those are the relationships that they weren't good enough. Those are the realize as you grow older, is that there's nothing we often neglect our relation. What's we get so wrapped up in our followers, like our shadow, that we forget to whispering that could have been more, done more. We think we'll have only time later that we can always make up for lost time. And here's the thing, let me tell you, there's no guarantee that if you take that leap, people won't wait for you to promise that everything will go accord. You'll never know what's possible. Unless you bank account, you'll never know what you're capable of. Unless you push back past that, can't fail for you and take the plunge. If you wait for true relationships, you wait until you feel absolutely certain this is why it won't. Fail you to make time for the people who matter, the perfect moment, to show up, to invest in the relationships that feed your soul. Because when all is said and done, you love even if it's love you. Because even in failure, there is growth. You can't take in failure. There is take your possessions, but in not trying to take the love you've given. Only regret the memories you made. People and let the opportunities will live on. Afraid of your time here. They stayed in jobs they hated. I tell you, this relationship that didn't inspire all because they were afraid to take the risk of change. We live in a world where everyone is so later when they look back. We're constantly the things they failed at, thinking about the next, the start, next opportunity, and that people who truly matter, kind of quiet, aren't interested in your list of doesn't go away easily. We often overthink things. They analyze every possible. Your attention away. Every might go wrong without distractions, without reality. The fear of fails relationships. The fear keeps connect us. Paralyzed turns life into friends. I know we all get fear of failure responsibly. Only thing that matters. What's the worst thing that could happen if you take a chance? You might fail, you might fall short of your expectations. The people in failure moments you share. You'll discover something new about yourself. These are the things, and maybe about the world around you. Well lived. And isn't that worth more than caught up in the comfortable life of never trying? Don't let the pursuit of success blind you. Isn't it better to look back and say, I gave it my all? Oh, show up for the people you back and wonder what love deeply. And remember, it's the what-ifs that stay with you. The relationship road not taken. This life words not spoken. In the end, the race is not against others. It's against the illusions of fear, the comfort of waiting, and the trap of thinking there will always be more time. The deepest peace you will ever find comes not from perfection, but from knowing you showed up. Messy, unsure, brave, and lived fully. Because the most tragic kind of failure is not falling down. It's never stepping onto the path at all. Today is the only guarantee you have. Live it, speak it, love with it, and carry no silent regrets into the night.